It's day walls.
Yeah, walls day. It's walls day. So yeah, we've been mulling this one over for a while. It's gonna be tricky. So for doing the walls, we got 4 foot by 8 foot sheets of 1/4 inch plywood. I forget what type specifically. So what we're gonna do is get templates kind of measured out for the front around like the foam blobs in the corner, and then we also have to mark where our switches and outlets are gonna go. This first sheet we're putting up, we're trying to do a full 4 foot by 8 foot sheet of it. And it's going to be tricky to make sure all of our outlet holes and light switch holes are lined up, and we're going to have to feed the cables through all those spots as we put it up. So there'll be a lot of planning in this first step to get the templates right and all the cutouts and everything where they need to be. So that's what we're figuring out now and go from there.
Yep.
Yeah, we had an issue with this. We thought this style we could just mount to the front of our framing, so it would just sit flush and be where we need it to be. But as we're looking at it, this is about a 1/2 inch and our walls are a 1/4 inch, so this is going to stick out too much. So we're trying to come up with a creative solution to mount these, which we'll kind of explain next. So if you end up getting this style of box, this will be helpful. Or if you get a different style, that'll be kind of your own little project to figure out.
Yeah.
But we'll walk you through how we did it with this style to how we're going to get them to sit flush. So not too tricky, just a few extra steps. So we'll take you through that. And so after we get these installed, we'll have an idea of where our cutouts need to be for the walls and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get at it.
Yay. Yay! Did it.
So this is the box we started with. As you can see, we had this front flange on the front of it that was getting in our way. So we removed that to make it look like this, filed it down. So we still have these attachment points, and then from there we cut out this block and attached it to the side. Okay, so after we got this box attached to the wood block we made, we set it up to where when you slide this into place, the front of this box will be flush with the wall. It's a little set in on the top. That should be fine once we get the faceplate on it. But now that we have this set up and lined up, we can kind of get the height of where we want it, screw it in to the block there, and we'll have our 120 outlet boxes set up.
Woohoo.
So the first step we took when installing the walls was to remove the foam blob and make a template for that top front corner of the van and work our way back from there. From here we reinstalled the foam blob and made sure the template fit while up against the wall. You may need to go back and forth a few times with some trimming to get it to fit properly.
Alright, so we got our fancy template cut to essentially, go around that foam blob in the front, and then we traced it out on the plywood, and now we're about to drill some holes at the different points so that way when we use the jigsaw it's easy to navigate around our little marks. So hopefully it works on the first go. right under here, in there, exactly where that board is starting, and that way we're lining up the top. So maybe even cross at the bottom of the actual plywood too. So you know, like do it nick. Yeah, vertical nick on both boards. Yeah. That way when we go to set it back, we're like lining it intentionally or something.
So when we test fit the first section of wall, we realized we still needed to make a few trims around the foam blob. While we had the board in the van, we marked out where all of our framing was, so when we went to install it, we knew where to screw to avoid hitting any of our wiring. We also marked out where to place our switches and outlets while we were at it. Something we found extremely useful was to take photos of all of your framing before putting the walls up. I can't tell you how many times we referenced this back to see where we could nail and where we couldn't throughout this process. Alright, so back to day 2 of working on the walls. We meant to film a lot more of day 1, but we had a pretty upsetting camera mishap.
Yep.
To where a sheet of plywood tipped over, hit the tripod, and broke our other DSLR. So back with a new camera, so things look a little different, that's why. So yeah, we'll throw in some B-roll of the updates we did last time. We did the top half of the walls pretty much all the way around. Today we're going through finishing the bottom half. We have to make a few adjustments. Like over our shoulder, I don't know if you can see, the hole for the light switch isn't big enough, so we'll start, we gotta update that, so this fits. And then we'll finish the bottoms off, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, hopefully get to filling the holes with some wood putty, sanding them down, getting ready to paint, depending on what the time looks like for today. We may or may not paint today.
Yeah, shouldn't take us long to finish the walls. We gotta make some templates for the wheel wells, and for a couple of the cutouts on where the walls stick out a little bit, so.
Yeah, and then Cody also made a couple very small boxes so we can use some of the space in the walls.
Yep, play with the router a little more, and yeah. Alright, let's knock this out.
Okay.
So just like before, after making sure the wall fits in place, we mark and cut out all of our electrical runs and then do the final install. So we just got our walls wrapped up. Pretty straightforward. It was like maybe a 3-hour job the second day, finishing up the bottom halves. We routed out these. Have some touches up to do, but it was nice to use some space in the wall that was going to be wasted otherwise. So we have a couple storage shelves with a lip on the inside. We also finished up this piece here. Kind of had to use a scribe to get the curvature and piece it in. It'll just kind of clean it up so you're not seeing behind the wall as much. And then the countertops will be up here, so this should all be hidden once we're done with that. And then back here, we ended up just leaving this pretty open and exposed. I still have to do the chassis ground for our electrical system, so this gives us room to find a good ground spot on the wheel well arch, so where we're ever going to hook that up. And it's pretty much the central hub for all of our electronics coming into here. So this will give us enough room to work with once we build the box out over the wheel well here. A lot of these seams and stuff and these nails we didn't fill because this is going to be all hidden. We only worried about the stuff that was going to be visible. So all the nail holes from the nail gun, it's all touched up and ready to go. That pretty much wraps up the wall project. It'll be onto some painting and floors next.
So the walls are painted and we took absolutely 0 clips of doing so.
Yeah.
but that's okay.
Yeah, we finished the walls, kind of wrapped up that, but then decided to paint. So same day, we got more done.
We puttied only the exposed areas of the wall, so like the nail holes and then just a couple seams, just so that way it looks nice and clean. And I feel like it came out pretty good.
Yeah, so if you're curious, it took 1 gallon of paint to do the ceiling and walls. So if you do your ceiling and walls the same color, you can get 1 gallon of paint and get away with that. I mean, it was pretty close at the end.
Yeah.
But it was enough to get it done. And yeah, like she said, some of the seams we left exposed. One, so we know where to nail next time, and they're just going to be covered anyway. So, but yeah, came out pretty good, and that wraps up the walls. You just have to finish up the outlets and put those on. So we'll see you for the next one.
Bye.